everyone. Welcome back to our podcast, No More Secrets. As always, I'm your niece, Katie Albrecht.
And I'm your aunt, Mary Albrecht. And we are completely giggling because we discovered a no button that I had from a long time ago in my drawer.
It's definitely an on button.
And we were...
Or on, depending on perspective, right?
Correct. Was I showing it the wrong way? Okay. Well,
but I think we got to give them a sample of what it sounds
exactly.
like.
So we were trying to start our... Let's give them an example of what we were trying to do to start our episode today.
What's something that you disagree with?
Honey Nut Cheerios.
Honey Nut Cheerios.
No.
No more Honey Nut Cheerios.
But then we were going to go like this. Welcome back to our podcast.
No.
More secrets.
Yeah.
Get it?
Yeah, I think they get it.
And we just started laughing so hard that we couldn't do it. So
yeah.
And
If you want to see those videos.
and if you
Right.
want to see those videos, we will not
We're
only
gonna set
show
up a
them,
Patreon with it.
we will give you a no button at the same time.
No.
It
See?
gets pretty expressive,
It
yeah.
has 10 different channels.
Channels.
Or whatever.
It's like a TV button, yeah. But just says one word.
Oh my gosh. Anyway, and in addition to that, I'm on my phone because I did an Instacart order, and they always ask you you must get 17 questions for 12 items because they want, do you want this? Can I have a bigger size? That it's way more work than it's worth. And the reason that we're shopping on Instacart is because of that dumb CC thing that's out there, which is exactly what we're going to talk about today, because this week is 1 year, basically, from when everything shut down, right?
It's been, so I think it's different for different people. For me, I remember March 14th. Which is the date of recording, obviously.
Because it's also...
It's my dad's birthday. So that's... Every time we bring up Ken. So it's my dad's birthday, and we had previously talked about this on the podcast, but just to each other, we're like, he must be doing this, like it just seemed like something in his MO that he would like.
Well, they literally shut stuff down like the night before, and then all the next day we were all in shock. March 14th last year. And then remember you sent me that text that's like, isn't it funny that the whole world is shutting down on my dad's birthday? He's got to be the one torturing the world.
Or it's just the craziest coincidence in the world.
Exactly. And we kind of still feel that way because he definitely, he really has a presence even still. And let me just explain. Steve had another dream. I shared a couple episodes back that Steve had a really bad, I guess, nightmare about Ken that really shook him up. And he had another one a couple nights ago. They were just talking about something on TV and whatever, and Ken exploded in the dream, and Steve yelled at him and said, "You have the worst attitude than every person on the planet all put together and then some." And then he got really, really angry, and Steve got really scared, and he woke up shaking and sweaty and everything like that. And so Steve and I were talking about Ken's force. It really is still there, because when we talk about it or start to think about all of it, it's like, whoa, how did we survive all that,
Mm-hmm.
And so on his birthday is a good time he would be 59 today. It's a good time to kind of think about how far we've come, because I feel like, gosh, we're doing pretty good living, with him.
Mm-hmm.
From living with him,
I mean, we've all talked about how much we've grown since he's passed away, since he's been in our life every day. Like, I just think we're all on a much healthier path than what we were I don't think we could have reached this when he was alive.
Nope, there'd be no way. And interesting, when we joke, quote unquote, about the pandemic and him causing it, he really was at that level. I mean, I have to say he had a force. He was his own pandemic, and it mostly was in our family, but he was an evil virus that was way beyond description. And so we don't really joke when we talk about, he is the cause of the pandemic, because that's how it felt to us,
Mm-hmm.
So anyway.
Yeah, we used to say, like,
Excuse me.
A lot of people, nice.
I'm sorry.
Right in the mic,
I was
too.
laughing so hard earlier that now I
I know, I feel that too. I had to drink a little bit of water.
me too.
A lot of the people that were experiencing like the lockdown and everything, we obviously didn't have that specifically, but we felt we were trapped mentally with him growing up. Like weren't allowed to do certain things, weren't allowed to act a certain way. And this pandemic, when everyone was like locked down and everything, and then quarantined, and then, everything's just so out of your control, it was hard not to see a parallel. Not obviously immediate, but it made sense to us. We're like, this is very similar to how we've felt our lives with him.
It really is, and it really brought up a lot of bad, feelings for me. And even up until a month ago, my therapist kept saying to me, you need to stop comparing COVID to Ken for your own sake, because let me tell you why. I felt a complete rejection when people would choose to abide by COVID guidelines rather than come and see me or come and give me a hug.
Mm-hmm.
I took it personally. Like, you're choosing Ken over me. I'm the sick one.
It like reminded you of how you were treated when he was alive, it sounds like.
Yeah, you're staying away from me. I'm getting punished because of that thing out there.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't do anything wrong. And so I just, I still getting all choked up, but I still feel that way. I really have a hard time not comparing COVID to Ken. I wrote a whole article on it. And so when I talk about kicking its ass, that's probably my, sort of subconscious feeling that I wish I could have kicked Ken's ass when he was on this planet, but I just wasn't strong enough,
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah, because my big joke with all my people is that, I'm not afraid of the virus. I'm just not. The only reason that I'm doing all the social distancing and all the stuff is because you're afraid of it, which is fine, but I'm not. And I just want you to know that. And if I do choose to get the vaccine, I'm not doing it because I'm afraid of the virus. I'm doing it for herd immunity because I'm a team player.
Anything to compliment yourself, right?
But yeah, I mean, the whole thing has just really reminded me of like walking on eggshells. You're not allowed to talk about that thing a certain way. Like I couldn't ever talk about Ken in a way like like that wasn't in agreement with the masses, which at the time was our family. So I couldn't say, he's fucking nuts. He's a mental case. He needs to be in a hospital. No. Same as now, I can't say I'm not afraid of the virus, but I'm not. And I'm not allowed that. And so, it just has been such a parallel for the last year that it really is interesting that it did start on his birthday. And it is now a year later, and here we are again, still talking.
It is interesting. And I was thinking, I don't know why I just thought about this, but I thought of when he pretended to have cancer. And
it's in our book.
Yes.
Broken Neck.
It's in our book, Broken Neck, yes. But no, he pretended to have cancer because we were trying to, or at least I was staying away from him at that point. And he was using it as a tactic to get people to feel sorry for him. This isn't, to me, I felt like when people said like, if you don't care about like the procedures for COVID and everything, then you're risking other people's lives. I'm like, to me, it was kind of like a similar parallel, I guess, because if my dad had cancer and if we said we couldn't talk to him because he was dying of cancer, is what he was telling everyone, then why did we, then like we're bad people for not talking to him, which is, I don't know if this even makes sense. Like with COVID, if we make it seem like we're flippant about people's lives, which I don't think we were at all. We just didn't agree with the lockdown necessarily.
Right.
We look like the bad person because we're like, we have a slightly different opinion about the virus or like something that could lead to more problems, but maybe it's just like triggered
the feeling of like, how can you be such a horrible person that you wouldn't talk to your father when he has cancer,
how could you
dying
be such
of
a horrible
cancer?
Person that you don't care about other people's lives? Like that's,
which is in that case it was him, but with COVID it was everybody, right?
And we've also like, we've made it pretty clear, like we don't we obviously don't want people to die, you know, like that's never been the case with COVID. Like obviously we don't want to be like spreading it either, but our mindset was like, we're trying to just live anyway, you know, we're not trying to live in fear of it. I don't want to live in fear of my dad. I don't want to live in fear of COVID, you know?
Yeah. And
Yes, it's a virus. It's a real virus. I've had it, and
exactly.
and it does mess up people. It can mess up people if you have the wrong, you know, health issues or something like that. But to live in fear of it the way that a lot of people have, I think it
just got
was
really,
hard.
really unhealthy in so many other ways. It just did, and
Right.
still is unhealthy in those ways. Somebody told me yesterday that her husband isn't getting a colonoscopy, not because he's afraid of getting the virus, but he doesn't want to do a COVID test and
Well,
then
the COVID
quarantine
test-
for 72 hours and then get a colonoscopy. He's like, that's too much trouble. So all these people aren't doing stuff because it's too much trouble to tiptoe around COVID all the time, you know.
Yeah, that's
So
not good either.
stuff like that. But no, of course we don't want people to die. That's never been the case. But I just feel like
I felt like
the
that was
lockdown
used-
really didn't do much, because look at all the people that not only rebelled but rebelled with super spreaders on purpose. So they took what maybe could have been a moderate thing and they went the other way and started having like huger parties and closer parties and
Yeah.
and half
traveling
the country
to the places that were open.
yeah, and half
Yeah.
the country didn't do it. And so I just kind of think, what would have happened had we not locked down? I still think the people that took the virus seriously would have stayed home or stayed separate or been careful or wore masks. But I don't think ordering it did anything. It didn't do it for foreign countries. I know a lot of my clients are like, if you were in a foreign country, you would do what the government says. Yeah, maybe for a month, but then as soon as they get out, they rebel and it comes back, because the other countries like Italy is worse than us now, way worse, you know, because they
True.
were just
Well, actually, I haven't followed it recently, but I know that they had a huge spike in the past few months or something like that.
yeah. So anyway, I just don't think it works. I think we are yet to see some major repercussions in the next 5 years from people that have lost their businesses or gotten so depressed or lost their relationships, and you know, just more so than knowing people that died from COVID. What about all the deaths that occurred with your livelihood, with your life, with your things the way you knew it before, you know?
Right. I mean, Travis and I were talking about the concerts. Like, that sounds like such a small thing, like, because it's not on the same level. Like, oh, I don't get to go to a concert. It sounds like a whiny baby kind of thing. But there's a lot of people that go to concerts because it makes them feel good, and that's the only. Sometimes, in some cases, it's the only thing that makes them feel good.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas, like, going to like live music or just doing things that are like out and about and stuff, it's like it's the stuff that makes us happy. And if that stuff has been taken away from us, it's going to have a lot of like mental health repercussions, and I'm sure it's already had, you know.
It's already had, and that's yet to come, even though things are kind of looking up here a year later in terms of...
I am feeling more optimistic.
Yeah.
Just in general. I mean, like, you look at the COVID numbers on Google, they've shot down, they've plateaued a little bit in the past couple days and everything. And knowing that the vaccine is out, that people are getting more access to it, that like the virus is starting to become less of a threat is good news, you know.
It's good news, especially for the people that were so afraid of it. You know, I'm glad
Yeah.
for that. And I'm also glad for the technology that was developed to create this vaccine so quickly, because now they're planning to be able to use that for the good of curing other diseases, or at least minimizing them, such as cancer. So if that comes out of it, great, you know. So, I mean, there are definitely positives that have come out of this, but I don't know. It was Travis who said that, what if we were in a coma for a year? Like, we went into a coma at the beginning of March 2020, and we woke up today. I mean,
Well,
how would the world look different?
I think someone in the beginning of the pandemic, I think it was like Jared Leto or something. I don't know if you. Yes. Okay. I'm good. He's confirming, because I know you're like
We're
a.
in like a complete like technology abstinence retreat.
He was on a retreat and he was like completely isolated from people, and it was like for 3 months or something.
Yeah.
And then he comes out and everyone's like completely locked down at that point. Like, how hilarious is that? I know that you're a 30 Seconds to Mars fan, right? Yeah. Yeah. So like,
Kind of
just that kind
similar.
of scenario is crazy. You know.
I think we even mentioned that on one of our episodes because I said, how can you not? I don't think there's anyone in the world that doesn't know there's a pandemic out there. And then you said, except for Jared Leto. And I'm like, who the hell's that?
Yeah, and you obviously didn't get the reference, but I knew Travis would. Yeah. Yeah, I can't imagine someone that was, absent somehow this past year.
Yeah, awake from a coma, and so many businesses are completely closed. Like you go into downtown areas and it's like a ghost town, with certain businesses being boarded up and that kind of thing. But what about also like people with the masks all the time? Like sometimes I still sit in a parking lot and I look at everyone go, and it's like, this is so weird still to see people after all this time wearing masks, and everyone's sort of got a different mask attitude. You can tell the people that are like, wearing them and pressing them up. And then there's people that kind of just sort of put them up, and then they rip them off as soon as they get out of the store,
Have you noticed, and maybe this is just what I think, but I think people think that they can't be seen because they're in a mask. So they're like more intentional with like their eye rolls or like glares or just something like while their mask is on. Like,
no, I haven't noticed that.
You haven't noticed this? Maybe it's just me. Like, I feel like people can't see me because there's something on my face and I'm not used to something being on my face. So I feel like I'm like caught staring at people awkwardly when I wouldn't do that before, where I would like look away because, it's not socially acceptable. But then we have this moment of I'm staring at this person and they're staring at me because they don't think they can be seen either. And then it's just, it's just awkward.
And talk about awkward when people come up to you and, hi, Mary, and you have no idea who they are because you're wearing a fucking mask. Like
they're wearing a mask, yeah.
Yeah, meaning they're, don't you recognize me? No, you've got a hood on, sunglasses, and a mask. I don't recognize you. But they recognize me because, I'm famous, and usually I'm not wearing
Mary, yeah.
because usually I'm not wearing
so
a mask
pretty.
until the last second.
How can they not recognize a pretty person?
Right. I mean, no matter what, even in a mask,
Right. Yeah. No. Another thing that I've noticed is how much I rely on looking at people's mouth when they talk to understand them.
Yeah, you can't.
Because now I can't understand anyone.
Right.
Like everyone's like talking to me. They look like they're saying a joke, and I do like oh yeah, huh, and I can't hear a thing that they're saying because they have their mask on.
Yeah.
And I don't want to look stupid and ask them to repeat, so I just don't, and then pretend to go along with it.
I know it's terrible for communication. You really do need a couple points of couple senses, like visual, audio, whatever. Yeah. And
unless people
especially
have perfect pronunciation, which, let's be honest, no one does.
and like especially dealing with seniors, like trying to understand grandpa in a mask. Good Lord.
Development. Kids growing up, seeing all these people wearing masks.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and so what's going to happen there?
What's going to happen with kids? Yeah.
And because that's what they
or thinking that remote school is normal. That's another big one. Like if these kids that are going to school, like they think that this is just how it's always been. Like they don't see it as like, oh, this is a new thing.
It's actually going to be a really neat psychological and sociological study going forward to see what the repercussions are of this past year in terms of how people act, what norms stay, what go completely the other way, what kind of just fade slowly or whatever. But even like businesses, I'm thinking of a couple corporations where they have decided that they are not going to ever go back to regular offices. They're going to the open concept, and they are closing down buildings, and then nobody has an office, and you go into the office once a week and find a table like you would at Starbucks. Mm-hmm. And that's going forward, meaning once everything is clear, and they're not going to ever have like the brick and mortar corporation anymore. So. But
I do think that retail will make a big comeback, like retail stores and stuff. I was out shopping with my mom yesterday at like an outdoor outlet mall.
Okay.
And it was packed there.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and I'm wondering if it's because people were so frustrated for so long, and you still can't go to like big events and stuff, that shopping is kind of like the outlet they're like the way to get out now. So I'm wondering if maybe that'll like bring back retail stores, like brick and mortar stores, whereas it was moving online before.
Even before the pandemic hit, it
Yeah.
was definitely moving online. Were the stores themselves packed, or more like the outside area, or
They had, I think all the stores had like little tickers,
so it
people
was
at the door to like,
limited?
yeah, and like Nike always is for some reason the longest line to get into.
Okay.
Out of every store there, Nike wrapped around the whole building.
Whoa.
And I've seen that at like Gurney Mills too, like other malls. I think Nike's doing pretty well, or they just have the smallest capacity limits or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I think that could be kind of interesting. To like go back to like brick and mortar stores and stuff because people are so sick of being inside.
Hopefully that'll happen, especially
Yeah.
because we're coming out of it in the nicer time of year for a majority of the country.
Yeah.
So that could help. I can't even, what about hotels and things like that?
I don't know.
It just is so up in the air. And I guess I'm really excited that there is a light at the end of the tunnel, quote unquote, but I'm also like beaten down. I kind of feel like, so what? I kind of like, I waited a year. Now it's really, I don't want it anymore kind of thing. You kind of get that. I get that way with my clients. Like, it's okay. You don't have to come back here. Like, you could have come all year, but now you don't have to.
I get that with restaurants because, like, I don't feel like going out to a restaurant anymore. Just
Yeah,
'cause
you
I
just don't.
haven't for so long.
Right. And that's what I worry about with, like, the things that are going to stay. Or maybe they'll just fade slowly, but they won't just instantly be back to the way it was,
Yeah. And there's probably a bunch of things that'll come out of this that we don't know of that could be very good too. Like that we can't
don't
even
know of. Yeah.
that we can't even think about right now. Like it's going to create new types of businesses or I don't know. Like I obviously don't know because I don't know it, like, cause it's just a lot of possibilities that could happen from it. So I'm also feeling, I guess, optimistic about it because it's when you're at the bottom, and I think everyone in the world was this past year.
At some point,
the only way you can go is up.
Correct. At least with the virus.
Well, yeah. No, just like when you're at a low point in your life, when you're at what you think is your rock bottom or whatever. And I don't want to say that it was for me, but I think it was for a lot of people this past year. Because it's been hard. It's been a tough year.
Which is interesting because we are preparing for our guest next week, who we found had to be basically on bed rest for on and off 8 months, isolated away from his family, before there was a pandemic. And now people are all like, oh, I hate having to stay home. And he's like, well, people have to stay home and they're isolated for a lot of other reasons besides a pandemic, like illness. Like, you don't even think about that. Like somebody that is so ill, they never get out of their house.
This is similar, but not really. Meghan Markle just came out with did you see that with the royals?
I did. Yeah. Yeah.
She compared being in the royal family to everyone being in lockdown because she said that there was a lot of rules being a royal.
Interesting.
I think there's some arguments about whether that's sincere or not because she was in a palace and it's a little bit different than people that have like a smaller house or can't quite afford their bills and stuff. But I can see what she means a little to an extent where it's like she was being forced to stay home and
act a certain way,
say
a certain thing.
Yeah, and she was always being watched.
Definition of what living really is.
Okay.
You can have the most expensive mansion in the world, but is that actually living?
Are you actually enjoying your life?
Right.
Yeah, like everyone has like different standards, I guess. But she was, yeah. I think it would be tough to be forced to stay in your house in a mansion too, honestly.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a good point.
Yeah. To be told you have to do anything. I mean, unless it's illegal. But to be told you have to stay home? What? Like, meaning the world is all about socialization and interaction and learning and growing and experiencing. So to be told you have to stay home? That doesn't make any sense. That's not healthy.
Unless you're an introvert. Just love that shit,
I know. So many of them are like, whoa.
Some people love this. And I'll be honest, there was a part of me that liked some of the days I got to stay home, I'm like, this is kind of nice, you know. I could actually just chill. I did a couple puzzles.
Yeah, how's that paint by numbers going?
It's not done yet. I started it a year ago, I think today, so it's not done.
Yeah,
It's on my to-do list. You
I
know?
personally didn't stay home one day. I've been out every single day. My life hasn't changed at all.
Well, you had this place and you had the cats here and
And
stuff
I had to go
like-
see my dad, even it was outside the
You see
window,
Grandpa, yeah.
and go see Steve, and go up to Lake Geneva to get iron to stay alive. You know, just stuff like that. Blah blah blah.
no big deal or anything.
No
yeah.
big deal.
Yeah.
But you know, speaking of the whole, you know, light at the end of the tunnel, well, a lot of it is because of the vaccine. Most of it is. But have you noticed that there's like this sort of vaccine competition going on out there? Like with who, oh, you got a vaccine? Where'd you get it? How'd you get it? What did you say? How come I can't get it? Oh, you're so lucky. You got a certificate? I didn't get a certificate.
I have heard that, yeah.
You got a water bottle? I didn't get water.
You got Cheez-Its with yours?
You know,
Like a little snack
It's
after you give blood or something? Do they give you cookies?
it
But-
feels like it's becoming like a popular group kind of thing. Like, oh, you don't have the vaccine yet? No, I haven't looked for it. You haven't? You know, like that. No, because I don't. Yeah.
I also just, for me, I know that I'm going to be the bottom of the barrel when it comes
With
to
your age, yeah.
age. I've already had it, so I might or might not have antibodies still. I don't know if they've left or not. As a few months ago, I still had them, but like, yeah, I don't have any pre-existing conditions. Like, I'm not rushed to get it because I know I'm not gonna be rushed to get it. You know, like no one cares right now that I get the vaccine compared to all the other people out there.
Yeah, yeah, that's for sure. But then again, the administration did say that everyone would have access to it by the end of May, so it's not that far away anyway if you want it. You know, whether or not you can get it is different, but at least you know you're eligible. Even by the beginning of May, I think you're eligible, but then there'll be enough supply by the end of May, which is great. So that, you know, anyone that wants it can get it and we can move on. Now,
Yeah.
I'm assuming since the last pandemic was 100 years ago, we're not going to have another one in our lifetime, right? Because I'm not doing it again, people. I'm not doing it again. So just saying, if next time I'm going to come lick all of you.
Why not?
That sounds fun.
Oh gosh.
What don't you understand about no? No.
Yeah, I think that's what everyone else is gonna say too. So
Well, maybe I won't. Maybe I'll figuratively lick you.
I don't know. I don't know what that means. So you do you. If that makes you feel good to figuratively lick people.
Don't know what that means. I don't either. No, I'm trying, people. I'm trying, but you know, I've done well. I've done everything. I've really worked hard at the fitness loft. Not one person has gotten sick in our circles of people. It's been a year.
Yeah.
I've hated every second of it. I spend a ton of money on extra everything, cleaning, purifiers, that whole thing.
Which you were already like pretty clean and
Yeah,
purified person,
I'm
I
pretty
guess.
purified anyway. And so, yeah, I mean, I did what I was supposed to do, but what I guess I really resent is that I don't understand why I had to be happy about it. Like, I just, you know, you need to respect the virus. I'm like, I don't feel like I want to. I don't want to respect the virus. Like,
This virus is disrespecting us.
it's disrespecting us, just like Ken did, you know? And so it's like,
But it's also, you know, it's hurting people too. Like it's both of it.
it's not about respecting the virus and doing the right thing or whatever. If I want to have an attitude about a virus, I can. You know, you don't have to come here. And so that's how I feel. But I did everything that the governor said because I'm a business and I'm in business. And so I need to abide by certain rules. And I did it. But just because I don't agree with it doesn't make me a bad person. So that's what I'm not going to do again. I'm not going to agree with it more.
I understood that. Yeah. Yeah. Took me a second. I had to like think about it, but
Anyway, I don't know. This is what I think is going to happen is that we're all going to be weary. COVID fatigue, they call it that, right? People are just so weary that once we actually do have the ability to get out and circulate, we're going to be too tired.
Yeah, either that or it's gonna be like a massive boom or something when everyone's like, not COVID numbers, but of people like,
Getting out.
get me out of here, I'm free. Like, like they want to actually start living again. We don't know though. Could be either way.
Has Matt gotten any word on the Marriott, whether or not any kind of opening is happening there? Nothing yet. So
Other Marriotts are opening.
really,
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah, other hotels are opening. His particular one wasn't.
okay.
But yeah, so it just depends on the area, what restrictions people have in place in their location and stuff. But I don't know. I don't know what's gonna happen.
So 1 year later, here we are. Can you believe it? Remember, we're like, okay, 2 weeks, we could do it. We can go on lockdown for 2 weeks.
I think a week ago was the anniversary of the 2-week lockdown or something
of
like
the
that.
start of it. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
We're gonna be on lockdown for 2 weeks.
And I remember thinking I would love to have 2 weeks off because I haven't had a vacation since
I remember you saying that,
1997.
Yeah, you're
And
like,
I
I'm
had
kind of excited
no time
about
off.
it. But then you booked up a whole bunch of clients on Zoom or something.
Oh, and I had to get all equipment in and learn everything. It was just more work than ever, is what it was. So, I mean,
Yeah.
I am grateful for that. My business is
and you got
occupied more than ever.
you got new clients, right? Because you reached more people online and stuff.
Yeah, people were referring people that normally they wouldn't because they might have gone to their gym, but their gym
they're
isn't
further away
open
or
and they're
something,
not
yeah.
doing online or yeah, can my sister join? Or I got a lot of old clients back
Yeah.
because they had stopped just because they didn't have time, but now they have time. A lot of them don't travel anymore. So there's those good things. I mean, definitely my business has probably doubled in terms of revenue from the pandemic. So why am I complaining?
Sometimes, because sometimes you just gotta.
It's like
let it out.
it's like living in a palace and still feeling bad because you're locked down. Yeah, great. I'm making a lot of money, but I still don't like the way it came about. How's that?
Yeah, I think that's fair.
And
It's not like. It's like what Travis was saying. It just depends on your level of life that you're used to and that you want.
and what your quality is, like what you need
Yeah,
for health,
totally. Yeah.
And the other thing, people, it takes a fucking pandemic for you to come back. Some of these people have been gone
I
for
noticed
years.
you keep looking into the camera as you're saying this.
Seriously,
Calling
a
people out,
pandemic
yeah.
to carve out time.
Episode.
To carve out time for exercise at the fitness loft. A pandemic.
Hey,
It's okay. I really actually don't even care about the exercise too much anymore. This is
more
really
about
all
the
about
wine.
me this time. It's Ken's birthday, and this whole concept is just wearing me out, tearing me up, so it's like
Yeah.
I'm just done with it. So anyway, do you have anything else you want to share about your attitude
my attitude.
about the virus?
I mean, no. I'm hopeful. I'm ready for it to be.
Yeah,
on
we
its
just
way.
need to get this to be a bad memory, kind of in the remember. I'm looking forward to the day when we're like, remember when we used to all wear masks
Yeah.
like that? It's a ways off, I bet, right?
It's.
I mean, I
yes.
never wear them, but whatever, unless I have to.
Except for when it's required of you. Or something,
Like
yeah.
if it means staying alive, then I'll do it. Yeah, but I won't do it to go into a grocery store. I just won't go into a grocery store.
And I think that's a good thing to do. Like you have the right to choose.
Correct. So.
But yeah, I mean, it's a. I can't believe it's been a year. I can't believe it's been 5 years since my dad passed away. Since we're talking about all of it, like
I know.
Do you remember his birthday, like when he was alive? My birthday, because it was 2 weeks ago, was always joined with him, and I always had to I was always so mad about that.
And in the later years, he started telling mom and dad, grandma and grandpa, that I wasn't allowed to come to the combined birthday.
Even though I
Even
wanted
though
you to come.
wanted me there,
Yeah.
but he didn't. But they told me, no, you can't come because he doesn't want you there.
Right.
Again,
I hated sharing a birthday with him. Yeah.
Yeah.
It
But
was
now,
all about him. It was not about me.
and they combined it. Yeah, that really sucks.
Yeah.
It's only 11 days away, but still. I mean, a father and a daughter. It's not like two siblings or whatever,
Yeah.
But yeah, he would be 59. He died when he was 53. He was only a couple months in. We have a couple months gone when he turned 53. But yeah, so he 59. Wow. It's hard to think of him that old. Yeah.
Yeah, because he didn't make it to that.
Yeah. Anyway, I'm just bummed now. Let's go back to,
Okay.
let's try our intro again.
The no more secrets.
Yeah. More secrets.
I mean, we can probably wrap it up too. But
More secrets. Yeah.
taking away button privileges
Oh,
for you.
She's done this before with my phone. Okay.
Taking away technology privileges, yeah.
But we're
yeah.
really excited. Next week we have a really fantastic story about a cancer survivor. It's probably going to be in 2 parts because it's a very long story about a young person that had all kinds of complications and rare scenarios that resulted eventually in an amputation of his entire leg and part of his pelvis. So it's really a serious life-changing thing. And I think I'm really looking forward to having this guy on next week. That'll be at least part 1, if not both parts.
Yeah. We just spoke with him earlier today, and he seems like he's, first of all, very well spoken, but also open to just sharing all. So I think it'll be a really good episode, or 2 episodes.
Correct.
So
until next time, are we Travis, do you have anything you want to share?
Travis is in the room. If you guys couldn't tell, we're not just talking to ourselves.
There was that errant hand that popped up. Oh, do you have anything his answer?
His answer.
No.
So we're happy to send you a no button if you want, as long as you subscribe, right? Or whatever.
Everyone's gonna want one.
Oh no, shit. I don't even know.
Yeah, you better prepare.
Oh,
Eventually, we're gonna have to say
No.
to the requests, Okay.
anyway, if you didn't enjoy this episode, that's okay. And we'll see you next time.
What a weird accent.
Thanks for listening. Hey guys, thanks for checking out this week's episode of No More Secrets. If you liked what you saw, subscribe below.
And be sure to check out our website, thealbrechtauthors.com, where you can also purchase a copy of our book, Broken Neck. You better fucking do it.